Welcome to this video on Mapwork. We will be exploring the identification and interpretation of physical features. Physical features include natural landforms, vegetation, and drainage. Natural landforms consist of relief features like slopes, valleys, spurs, and hills. Contours are the most advantageous method for identifying relief features. The succession of contours helps identify landforms and changes in relief, such as valleys, spurs, hills, and slopes. A slope is the inclination of the land surface, which can be gentle, steep, regular, irregular, convex, or concave. Gentle slopes mean the land does not rise or fall steeply, and contours are drawn wide apart, up to 1.5 centimeters apart. This image illustrates how contours are spaced widely apart to indicate a gentle slope between points A and B. Steep slopes are characterized by land rising or falling sharply, and the contours are drawn very close to each other, as depicted here. Regular, even, or constant slopes are shown by contours that are evenly spaced at regular intervals. This indicates the smoothness of the land and can be either gentle or steep. Irregular or uneven slopes are indicated by unevenly spaced contours. This pattern highlights the ruggedness of the land. Convex slopes curve outwards. Contours are close together at the bottom and widely spaced at the top. These slopes are typical of escarpments and plateau edges. Concave slopes curve inwards. They are gentle in the lower sections with widely spaced contours, and steeper in the upper sections with contours close together at the top. A valley is a low area between higher grounds with steep slopes. On maps, valley contours are V-shaped, with the apex pointing toward the higher ground and opening toward the lower ground. A spur or salient is a projection of raised land from a mountain or hill into the lower land. They are shown by U-shaped contours bulging towards lower ground, with the V pointing to the higher ground. Interlocking spurs appear to fit together, projecting into a young valley, forcing the river to follow a winding course. Contours bulge from high areas toward the lower valley areas. This image provides a visual representation of interlocking spurs and the path the river follows through them. Truncated spurs are found in glaciated highlands, where glaciers have eroded and straightened the tips. The valleys form a U-shape with a broad floor. This is common in the upper courses of rivers from mountains like Mount Kenya. Conical hills are uplands less elevated than mountains, often having a regular shape. They are small, rounded hills indicated by circular contours, as shown in the diagram. Irregular shaped hills result when erosion lowers parts of a regular hill. This leaves some sides with uneven gentle slopes and others with uneven steep slopes, modifying the contour pattern. Ridges are narrow, elongated hills with steep slopes on all sides, often containing hills, cols, passes, or a watershed. They are shown by closely packed contours falling on both sides. The upper part is the brow, and the gently sloping section is the shoulder. This diagram illustrates how hills, saddles, and passes appear on a ridge, showcasing the distinct features and contour patterns. A col or saddle is a low area between two hills on a ridge, indicated by a gap with no contours. A pass is a narrow, steep-sided gap, providing a convenient crossing point, which is called a water or river gap if a river flows through it. A watershed is the boundary separating drainage systems flowing in different directions. Escarpments and ridges often form watersheds, indicated by a common high area of closely packed contours where rivers originate and flow in different directions. An escarpment is a continuous line of steep slopes facing the same direction. It has a long, gentle slope, the dip slope, and a short, steep slope, the scarp slope, indicated by distinct contour spacing. This image provides a visual representation of an escarpment, highlighting the difference between the scarp slope and the dip slope. A plateau is an upland area with a nearly level surface over a large area, often bounded by steep slopes. It is indicated by a wide area between two contours of equal height. Plains are areas of fairly level ground at a low altitude. They are indicated by widely spaced contours, sometimes featuring meandering streams. To describe relief, you should outline the general appearance, state the highest and lowest points, look for valleys, divide the area into relief regions, explain slope types, give the direction of slope, and identify and locate landforms. To describe vegetation, first identify the types present, such as woodlands, thickets, scrubs, or grasslands. Determine their distribution using map evidence, and suggest reasons for the distribution based on environmental factors. Different types of vegetation indicate different conditions. Forests suggest heavy rainfall, fertile soils, and cool temperatures. Thickets and shrubs suggest seasonal rainfall, poor soil, and high temperatures. Riverine trees indicate high moisture in the river valley. Drainage is the removal of water via natural streams or artificial means like canals. When describing drainage, identify natural features like rivers and lakes, and artificial features such as ponds, wells, and boreholes. To describe drainage, identify the main rivers by name, state their size based on the thickness of the blue lines, give the general flow direction, locate any watershed, and describe the characteristics of each feature. Permanent rivers flow throughout the year and are shown by continuous blue lines. They often indicate heavy rainfall and impermeable rocks in the area. Seasonal rivers flow only during the rainy season. They are represented by broken blue lines on a map, often suggesting low rainfall or a lack of a rich catchment area. Disappearing rivers are shown by continuous blue lines that end abruptly. They are commonly found in areas with permeable rocks, very low rainfall, and underground drainage. Drainage pattern refers to the layout of a river and its tributaries. The dendritic pattern resembles a tree and indicates homogeneous rocks of similar resistance to erosion. Tributaries join at acute angles. The trellis pattern has tributaries joining the main river at right angles. This indicates the river flows through parallel valleys or alternating layers of hard and soft rocks. Trellis drainage is rectilinear, featuring consequent, subsequent, obsequent, and secondary subsequent streams. This is visually represented in the diagram. The rectangular pattern looks like a large block of rectangles. Tributaries join the main river at nearly right angles, often indicating jointed or faulted rocks, causing streams to flow along lines of weakness. In the rectangular pattern, tributaries often take sharp angular bends along their course, distinguishing it from the trellis pattern by the absence of secondary subsequent streams. The parallel pattern is where rivers and tributaries flow virtually parallel to each other, largely influenced by the slope. This is common on the slopes of high mountain ranges. In the centripetal pattern, rivers flow from many directions into a central depression, forming inland drainage like a lake or swamp. This suggests possible downwarping in the area. The radial pattern resembles a bicycle's spokes, with rivers flowing outwards in all directions from a central point, such as a volcanic cone. The radial pattern is a likely indication of a volcanic mountain or highland forming the source of the rivers, a watershed, or a homogeneous rock structure. The fault-guided pattern is where the flow of a river is directed by fault lines in the terrain. Now we transition to human and economic activities. To describe these, identify the types, look for man-made features as evidence, and suggest reasons for their location, like climate for tea farming. For agriculture, specifically plantation farming, look for crop symbols or shading on the map, and named estates or farms to identify the type of crop grown in the area.